Hello students, welcome once again to my engineering physics channel. This is Sanjeev Badhe from KJ Somaiya Institute of Engineering and Information Technology. This is second session on a special theory of relativity. In the first session we discussed inertial frame and non-inertial frame of reference. Now we will try to get Galilean transformations which relate the space and time coordinates for the observers in the two inertial frames. We will discuss limitations of these Galilean transformations and solve some numerical problems based on these transformations.
Now let us discuss Galilean transformation.
Galileo
formulated these concepts in his description of uniform motion. To understand these Galilean transformations, let us consider two inertial frames, frame S and frame S prime. The frame S has got three axes x, y, z with origin O, and frame S prime is having origin O prime. Let the frame S prime is moving with velocity v relative to frame S. We can also say that frame S is moving with velocity minus v relative to frame S prime. Let some event occurring at point P, the observer in frame S describes that event at point x, y, z at time t. Observer in frame S prime will describe the same event as occurring at point x prime, y prime, z prime at time t prime. Now for measuring the distances, both observers in frame S and frame S prime are using meter sticks that are compared and calibrated against one another, and their clocks also are calibrated and synchronized when at rest. Now just look at the figure. From figure we can note that x can be written as x prime plus vt, or the same thing can be written as x prime equal to x minus vt. As the frame S prime is moving only in x direction, the y coordinate and z coordinates will remain unchanged. So y prime is equal to y, z prime is equal to z. Other way around we can write it as x is equal to x prime plus vt, y is equal to y prime, and z is equal to z prime. Time can be defined independent of any frame of reference, and with this we can write the fourth Galilean transformation as t prime equal to t. So these are the Galilean transformations with the help of which we can transform the coordinates, space coordinates and the time coordinates from one frame of reference to the other frame of reference. Okay, now let us try to find length of the rod having the endpoints A and B in frame S and in frame S prime. If you ask the observer in frame S to find out location of point A and B, he will say that location of point A is XA and location of point B is XB. But the observer in frame S prime will say that location of point A is XA prime and location of point B is XB prime. Using Galilean transformations, we can write xa prime equal to xa minus vta and xb prime equal to xb minus vtb. Let us call these equations as equation 1 and equation 2. What is v here? V is the relative velocity with which the frame S prime is moving with respect to frame S. Now if we are doing these measurements of location at the same time instance, then Ta can be written equal to Tb, and length of the rod can be found by subtracting equation 2 from equation 1. So xa prime minus xb prime will be equal to xa minus xb. Vta will get cancelled with vtb. Thus what we can note from this is, under Galilean transformation, the length of the rod doesn't change. Length of the rod is same in all inertial frames of references. Now in order to get the velocity transformations, we can differentiate the Galilean transformation with respect to time. We know that t is equal to t prime. This is the Galilean fourth transformation, and therefore the operation d by dt will be same as the operation d by dt prime. The first Galilean transformation, x prime equal to x minus vt. If you differentiate x prime with respect to t prime, x with respect to t, vt with respect to t, we can get ux prime equal to ux minus v. So along x direction this will be the velocity transformation. Along y direction uy prime is equal to uy, and along z direction uz prime equal to uz. So we can generalize, if the relative velocity of frame has the components of along all the three axes, we can generalize this as u prime equal to u minus v, where u prime is the velocity measured by the observer in frame s prime, u is the velocity measured by the observer in frame s, and v is the relative velocity with which the frame s prime is moving with respect to frame s. So these are the velocity transformations. We got the velocity transformations by differentiating Galilean position transformations with respect to time. So now acceleration transformations can be obtained by differentiating Galilean velocity transformations with respect to time. So dux prime by dt prime is equal to dux minus v by dt. What is v here? V is the velocity with which the frame s prime is moving with respect to frame s. V is what? Constant. V is a constant velocity, and therefore if you differentiate v with respect to t, it will result in 0, and the acceleration transformations we will get as ax prime equal to ax. In y direction ay prime equal to ay, and in z direction az prime equal to az. So the components of acceleration in all the three directions are not affected by uniform relative velocity of the reference frame, and therefore we can write a prime is equal to a. So acceleration is not affected. Acceleration measured by the observers in different inertial frames is same. So in last slide we have seen that acceleration is not affected by the motion of the reference frames if the reference frames are inertial frames. Mass is also not affected by the motion of reference frames in classical physics, and therefore if we calculate the force F in frame S, it will be equal to ma, and in frame S prime the force will be ma prime. As we have already seen, a prime is equal to a, therefore we can write F prime equal to F. So what is the meaning of this? F prime is equal to F. It means that the force measured by the observer in frame S prime is same as the force measured by the observer in frame S. So the force is same in all inertial frames, and as the force is same in all inertial frames, therefore Newton's laws of motion and Newton's equations of motion will also be exactly same in all inertial systems. What it means? It means that Galilean transformations do not affect the Newtonian mechanics. Newtonian mechanics laws are same in all the inertial frames according to Galilean transformations. So as far as Newton's theory is concerned, the Galilean transformations do not have any problems. The Newton's theory is fully obeyed under the Galilean transformations. But entire physics is not Newtonian mechanics. In addition to Newton's theory, there are other theories also in physics, like Maxwell's equations in electrodynamics. From this Maxwell's equation, one constant is obtained, C. which is equal to 1 upon square root of mu naught epsilon naught, and its value is obtained as 2.997925 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second, approximately 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. This constant is identified as velocity of propagation of plane wave in vacuum. We call it as velocity of light in free space. But according to Galilean transformations, velocity transformations which say u prime is equal to u minus v, the velocity cannot be same for all observers in different inertial frames. So for Galilean transformations, Newton's theory is okay, but Maxwell equations, there is an issue. So this discussion leads to three possibilities. Let us see all these three possibilities one by one. So possibility number one. Possibility number one says relative principle exists for mechanics, means these Galilean transformations are okay with mechanics but not for electrodynamics. But electrodynamics theory is also a well-known theory and proved experimentally. So that means that theory is also not wrong. So the explanation given is, for electrodynamics there is a preferred inertial frame which is called as ether frame. So this is an absolute frame, and in this absolute frame the speed of light is constant c, and then the Galilean transformations we can apply. So if there is an absolute frame or ether frame, then such ether frame should be observed. So experimental attempts were made to locate such absolute ether frame. One famous experiment was Michelson-Morley experiment. But Michelson-Morley experiment results did not suggest such existence of an absolute frame. So the results, experimental results, do not suggest the existence of absolute frame. Means what? This possibility number one is not correct. So if possibility number one is not correct, let us consider the second possibility. Possibility number one, which says relative principle exists only for mechanics and not for electrodynamics, means there is a preferred inertial frame for electrodynamics. This possibility we have just now discarded. So now let us consider the second possibility. Second possibility says relativity principle exists both for mechanics and electrodynamics. Mechanics laws are okay because mechanics laws are obeyed under Galilean transformations. Electrodynamics laws are not obeyed. So the electrodynamics laws given by Maxwell's are not correct. So what is this possibility number two? Relativity principle exists both for mechanics and electrodynamics, but the laws of electrodynamics given by Maxwell are wrong. So if they are wrong, experimentally it should be proved, but experimental results do not show any deviation from Maxwell equations. So experimental results show that Maxwell's theory is correct theory. So this possibility number two also is discarded because laws of electrodynamics are experimentally proved, so we cannot claim that they are wrong. So this possibility number two, which says relativity principle exists both for mechanics and electrodynamics but laws of electrodynamics are wrong, is also discarded. So now we are left with the possibility number three, which says relativity principle exists both for mechanics and electrodynamics, but the laws given by Newton are not correct. Experimentally also, in the beginning of this lecture, we have seen that Newtonian mechanics could not predict the behavior of the particles when the particles start moving with velocities comparable to velocity of light. But just saying Newton's mechanics is wrong is not enough, because Newton mechanics and Galilean transformations go hand in hand. So if you are saying Newtonian mechanics is wrong, that means Galilean transformation are also wrong and need to be changed. So if Galilean transformations need to be changed, then we will have to come up with new transformations. And as we are saying that Newton's theory is wrong, we need to develop a new theory which will be applicable to all speeds of particles. So this was some background which was needed to understand why it was needed to develop a new theory and why Einstein developed a new theory which is called as a special theory of relativity. We will see in the further class that how the new transformations which are called as Lorentz transformations can be obtained. And then we will discuss how this Lorentz transformation lead to the phenomena called time dilation, length contraction, and how Einstein arrived at his famous equation E is equal to mc square. So before the end of the lecture, let us try to solve some numericals based on the Galilean transformations. So this is the first numerical in which passenger in a train which is moving at 20 meter per second passes a man standing on a platform at t is equal to t prime equal to 0. After 30 seconds, train passes him. The man on a platform observes a bird flying along the track in the same direction as the train is 900 meter away. What are the coordinates of the bird as determined by the train passenger? So using Galilean transformations, we have to solve this problem. So using Galilean transformations, we can first we will write the coordinates for the observer on the platform. They are 900, 0, 0, 30. So x coordinate observed by the passenger who is in the frame S prime will be equal to x minus vt. V is the velocity with which the train is moving. T is the time, 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, train must have moved 600 meters. So x prime will be equal to 900 minus 600, that is 300. Y prime will remain unchanged, Z prime will remain unchanged. T prime is equal to T is equal to 30. So these are the coordinates determined by the train passenger of the bird. This is a second problem. A sample of a radioactive element at rest in the laboratory ejects 2 electrons in opposite direction. One electron has speed 0.6 c and the other has 0.7 c as observed by the laboratory observer. According to classical transformation, that is Galilean transformation, calculate the speed of one electron as measured by the other. So this is a simple problem. One electron is moving in x direction with velocity v, the other electron is moving in opposite direction with velocity ux. Using the Galilean transformation, you can calculate the relative velocity ux prime, that will be equal to minus 0.6 c minus 0.7 c, that is minus 1.3 c, or if other electron is measuring the velocity of the earlier electron, it can be written as 1.3 c. So according to Galilean transformation, we can see there is no limit on the value of the velocity. The velocity can exceed the value of c. So this is enough for today's class. In the next class, we will first discuss the postulates of a special theory of relativity and how to get the Lorentz transformations. Once we get Lorentz transformations, we will try to understand the concept of time dilation, length contraction, and finally we will try to get the mass energy relation. Thank you.
So we are at the end of second session on special theory of relativity. In this session, we discussed Galilean transformation. We have seen that Galilean transformations are in accordance with the Newtonian mechanics. But Newtonian mechanics does not hold for the particles moving with very high speed comparable to speed of light. So a new theory is needed which will be applicable to all the speeds. Galilean transformations also need to be changed, and therefore in the next session we will try to get new transformations called Lorentz transformations. I hope you must have enjoyed this session. If you have any doubt, if you have any queries, please write in the comment section, or you can mail me on my email ID. So thank you once again.